I'm going to let you guys take a look at the planning because I think that's kind of interesting to see. And I'm going to do it off screen to save myself hours of editing. You're probably going to learn a lot about my comic in the process. So yeah, stay tuned and I will show you guys how I turn this mess into a finished piece of work. See you soon. Mother May is here. Mother May is queer. Never fear. I haven't made a video in a while, and some of you might have noticed that, but I did promise to introduce all my characters, and I actually did try making that video a few times, but I found that it's very easy to get carried away when introducing characters because you want to gush and you want to explain them in a way that people can understand, but then you have to explain something so that they understand that explanation, and then you go down a rabbit hole of explanations. So I just thought I could just give you guys very brief summaries of each character based on really simple surface level stuff. So that's what we're gonna do today. And then we could just go through some sketchbook because who doesn't love that? And it will also be a little bit more fun going through the sketchbook after you've been introduced to these characters because you'll recognize them and you'll be like, hey, I know that bitch. So that's what we're gonna do today. And I hope that every one of you is staying inside, staying safe, and staying beautiful because I already know you kind of cute though. All right, so here is the finished product. And these are the minor characters down here. In the middle are the secondary characters, and at the top are the major characters, or the main characters. So we're just gonna skip the minor characters completely today, and maybe I'll get back to that in a different video, but right now, I'm just gonna introduce you to these guys really briefly. This is my blending stick for sculpting, and I'm gonna use it as a pointing stick. Okay, so in the middle right here, that's Stevie. She's the main character. She's an ex-Marine, and now she works for the police force. All of these characters have a uniform because they're all aboard one ship called the Albatross. And there's a drawing of it in my sketchbook. We will be looking at that later. Right next to her is Gene. He's her best friend, also an ex-Marine. Right next to them is the captain. He's got a stripe across his chest. She's a commander, that's why she's got the stripes on her arms. And he basically captains the ship, and he's just sort of been a cop his entire career. Right behind him is Soleil, who is an android. He used to be part of a resistance a long time ago, but he is actually older than all of these characters. Forrest, she is an alien ambassador, so she's an expert on alien culture and she knows a lot of alien languages. She's just sort of there to be the translator if needed, or just sort of a political representative. Right here are two members of the crew. She mans the guns and she is the pilot, so they both stay in the cockpit. And right in front are these two androids. They're both from a brothel that these guys take down at the very beginning of the story, but they've both decided to join the crew, Meadow and Tret. Oh, and I forgot to introduce these. So that's Soleil, that's Juju, and that's Piper. And right here is Aria. She is another cop. So she does the same thing that these guys do. But her mom is a chancellor, I believe. Yes. Right behind them is Feng. She's an android. And she basically hates humans. And so does her friend Tam, who is also an android from the same brothel as these two. This is Elise. She is the medic aboard the Albatross. And this is Dante, the head chef aboard the Albatross. So let's move on to the secondary characters. This is Dolly. She's head of maintenance aboard the Albatross. And this is the head janitor, Ezra. Right behind them is the weapons expert, who is an ex-mercenary named Meadow. And this right here is Talia. She's a mercenary who ends up befriending these two sort of midway through the book. Which, no, it still isn't being written, but I am in the process of writing the script right now. So these two are Daisy and Lily. They are Aria's sisters and daughters of Marina, who is the chancellor. So she is a government official, and she used to work with him, kind of calling the shots, so they're old friends, her and James. And these three are also from the same brothel as Meadow, Tam, and Tret. Their names are Kira, Sakura, and Asuko. So now you've been introduced to these characters, given a brief explanation of their sort of origin or their place in the story. So let's move on to the sketchbook. I've got lots of drawings to get through. But we're back, and we start with some drawings of Ezra, the janitor, who is also my only gender fluid character, or gender neutral, not gender fluid. And yeah, Matteo has this big scar on his face. Tam is sort of like a cross-dresser, I guess, because he still identifies as male. He just likes wearing women's clothing. These are just gestures, and these are blind contours, which is basically where you draw what you see and you really try to slow down your eye, and you can't look at the page or what you're drawing. This is me sitting in front of my kitchen. That's supposed to be Eddie Burback, but I think I was drunk when I drew these. Full disclosure, I like drawing when I'm a little altered because it gives me insight to see what kind of effect the different substances have on me. But I do smoke semi-often for back problem reasons. I'm sure some of you can relate out there. So a lot of the more messy looking drawings are usually when I'm high. And there's also lots of school projects, including this. So these are drawings of sculptures. I have a really nice gallery in my town, so these are all actually from the gallery. That's for a print that I was doing, a dry point print. I love printmaking. It's one of my favorite classes. I got these pens at Walmart. They're more like markers, but they kind of nice though. I really like all the tones of gray. So at this point I decided that all androids would have scribbles on their cheeks instead of blush, so that you can kind of assume that the texture of their skin is only like a little bit different from human skin, or maybe the way that the color shines off it. It's just so that it like looks like it's not really human. But I ended up going with a slightly different version of that, sort of more similar to this, almost like more misleading. And I'll show you guys that, but we got to get to it first. So this is a little mock-up of the station where the Two Hearts Cafe, which is the brothel, is located. It's basically like the enormous sign that takes up half of the planet because like they want spaceships that are flying by to see it so that they can like find the place that they've heard about. So this is like a sign that really in reality would be like bigger than a football stadium, probably so big that you couldn't see all of it from one spot standing on the planet, you know? It would just be unrecognizable if you're actually standing next to it. And this is when I was just sort of trying to draw bigger, which is something that I've just really been trying to do more often because I find that drawing small you can mess up more and it's harder to tell. So the bigger you go, the more confident it looks and the more you can really explore the shapes and the areas and stuff. here it is. This is the mock-up for the Albatross, which is the spaceship that they all are on. So this is kind of the different areas of the ship. It's kind of hard to see, and it's not necessarily solid plans, but like, you know, it's a mock-up. And these are the masters. These are the guys that created the computer that makes the androids. And that's Tam. I decided to map out where Talia's birthmarks are for that sweet continuity. So these drawings, I was on LSD or something similar to LSD, and I think some of them are pretty cool. The snake isn't so bad, but I really like these two. This is where I started to get really explorative with patterns. Just sort of letting your hand go. It's fun regardless of what state you're in. You can be sober and still do that stuff. It's a lot of fun. And this is for like a fantasy comic that I was trying to do. And this is a little super mega Game Grumps moment down here. I think these were for a stream, a live. And these are my New Horizons outfits. I've since gotten more clothing, but these are like some of the first articles of clothing I got in the game. There's Talia. I drew this only a few days ago. It's more from a stream, because I accidentally skipped a couple pages. And here is where I start to draw a little bigger. You can see that it just sort of, there's more to play with. I really like this one of Tret. So this last drawing is of Meadow. Stay tuned, because this is my passion project, and I will always probably have a place in my heart for these characters, regardless of whether or not I decide to actually do this graphic novel. But thank you for looking at my drawings, and have a great day. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you for watching.